London is big. I get more detailed. 600 square miles. 8 million bemused human beings. I'm one of them. But the middle of London is small. 2 areas. The West End, where you are, and an area we'll see this afternoon to the east called the City of London. West End City. It's schizophrenic. It's chalk and cheese. Jekyll and Hyde. Totally different. The West End where you are is nice residential. Stuff we're seeing around us. It's the eating, the drinking, the parks, the palaces, the shopping, the retail therapy is all the West End. At night time, the West End is lively. Piccadilly, Leicester Square, Covent Garden. Most people have drank enough beer to kill an elephant by about 6 o'clock. The City of London, further east, is business and banking. It's Wall Street. My husband is something in the city. It's wheeling and dealing. The men and women in suits, the masters of the universe, who, you know, control things. And because of this schizophrenic split, there's a very famous saying, a very famous maxim, which is absolutely true, that when it comes to the money, it is made in the city to the east, it is spent, as you might find out later, in the West End. So this is all West End. This is an area called Notting Hill. You might have seen a movie, Notting Hill, a fellow with floppy hair that looks a little bit like me. That was all filmed in this area. I've never seen the film, funnily enough. But yeah, Notting Hill, it's, as I said earlier, it's fashionable. Our Prime Minister, he belongs to a group they often call the Notting Hill Group. Him and a lot of his ministers have properties in this area. There are quite a few people around here now. You would have noticed the last 100 yards, a few wacky shops and young people. There is a big market near here called Portobello Road, which is quite busy on the weekend. So you're seeing more people on the last 200 yards than you'd normally expect to see at this time on a Saturday morning. It is a weekend. The only people working are drivers and guards, I think. So Notting Hill, this is all only, you know, a few yards really from where you are. And nice residential. We're facing west. If you're struggling with a map, sucking a pencil, furrowed brow. We're heading west. It'll stay pleasant, residential, lots of greenery. Just a brief word about the weather. I haven't even asked you where you come from. I don't know what climate you've come from.
Very warm.
Very warm. So you probably finding this pleasantly cool today, if a little bit sticky. Yeah, okay, the last few days it's been as warm as we expect in the summer. But all you need to know about our weather, tell us, Mark, tell us. I will. Is that it's changeable. You hear people say 4 seasons in one day. It's never dull in that sense. And you know, I think our weather, what it suffers from most, is an image problem, a PR problem. Let's face it, most people coming to maybe England, specifically London, tend to think of grey skies, umbrellas, drizzle. Look around, you know, it's generally an easy climate. People love to make fun of our weather. I think my favourite comment has always been the late Bob Hope. He said he came to London for the summer, went to the bathroom and missed it. So, you know, it's got a bad image, but on the whole it's moderate, it's temperate, it's gentle. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to tempt fate too much. It's only when I looked at my face in the mirror this morning, saw how tomato-like I looked, I realised the weather's been pretty good the last few days. Any chance when it's good weather, the English, you know, out in the sun. So again, this is all part of Notting Hill blurring into Holland Park. If we went off any of the roads on the left, it is fiercely a market. Madonna lives somewhere off on the left-hand side. Yeah, this is Holland Park. I live about 5 minutes walk from here, but the other side of a big roundabout ahead of us, which is a psychological barrier. Once you cross the big roundabout, the beautiful stuff fades away quickly. So when people ask me where I live, I don't say Second Shepherd's Bush across the roundabout. I say, you know Holland Park? And I hope it impresses. I don't think.
Reference.
Yes, it's just a point of reference. I live near Holland Park. I'll be doing a big left. But that's going to continue. The best residential is West Central, incidentally. If you were dripping in riches, rolling in money, I don't speak from experience, you would live in areas you might have heard of, like Mayfair, Knightsbridge, South Kensington. Some of them we'll see this afternoon. Belgravia. The less swanky, the less salubrious bits of London tend to be areas to the east, what we actually call the East End. And also, keeping things very general, there are more fashionable and more famous parts of London north of the river, where we are, than there are south of the river. So we're coming to this big roundabout, which is the end of the good life. If you went another half mile straight ahead, you'd be the humble area where I live. But we're turning left, we're going to drop south. We're going to join up with a motorway, the quickest route, as you can imagine, to take us to Windsor. Windsor is next to Heathrow. Is it Heathrow? Yeah, Heathrow. It's only a little bit further the other way, and very noisy, as you will hear, which always begs the famous question why they built the castle right next to the airport. But when we're at Windsor, thank you, when we're at Windsor...
Which one was built before?
The castle.
It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke.
I got it.
Good. It's how I gauge groups. I'm thinking, all right. Just rearrange my commentary.
Oh,
No.
I thought it was an acronym.
No. But yes, so, some of the road going out, we're taking the quickest roads.
And that was just the way that I was checking the guide.
Touche. So some of the road we see going out. Challenge on my hands there. All right, Stuart. What might be, some things you glimpsed on the way in. And most of this stuff, looking around left and right, is a little bit more battered now than we saw a few moments ago. This is typical West London. This sort of stuff, left or right, would have all been built about 150, 160 years ago. Once these would have been upper middle class dwellings, one family in one house, with domestic staff. That is not the case. Most of these will be cut into small apartments. To give you an idea of a price in London, people often about apartment prices, renting or buying. When I walked to your hotel, there was an advert about a block away for a 3-bedroomed flat for students, it said, with 2 bathrooms in Leinster Square, your square, for £700 a week.
Oh.
Which sounds very reasonable to me. 3 people, £700 a week.
That's like
So 200 and something, $300 a week. For central London, I don't know where it is in your square, but it's interesting to see a specific amount given. But if you find London expensive, crikey, so do we, if it makes you feel any better. And London is brick. It's a brick city. I don't know if you ever looked. Many of the houses you see look white on the front. That's just a type of thick paint. London is brick, brick, brick. It sits in a clay saucer. So important buildings, stone, parliaments, governments, buildings, churches. Stone has always been brought in. We don't get earthquakes either, we don't feel them. So, older buildings tend to survive.